Hello, my name's Dr. Addie Adelaine. I'm CEO of Ladders4Action, a non-profit organisation that connects knowledge and action. So today we've got our very first ever book review, and that's going to be done by Mellissa Williams. Mellissa, did you want to say hello?
Hiya.
Okay, we'll be getting started shortly. Hi. Okay. So, Mellissa, can you tell us a little bit about the book you've selected and how you came across it?
Yeah, so the book that I've selected here, it's Small Island by Andrea Levy. So I first came across this book back in college, so I think it's second year of college. It was one of the books on the curriculum basically that we were studying, and my teacher, brilliant teacher Julie, kind of walked me into the big cupboard of books and gave me that along with White Teeth and a number of other brilliant novels and said, if you've got time, just read them alongside kind of the work that we're doing as well. So yeah, the book, it's set basically around World War II. And it deals with a number of kind of different problems, so misogyny, racism, mental health problems, relationships, interracial relationships, and it's kind of narrated by 4 different characters. So 2 of the characters are black, and they were born in Jamaica, so there's Hortense and Gilbert. And then the other 2 characters are Queenie and Bernard, and they're from England and lived there their entire life, as far as I can remember. And it's just how their kind of lives intersect as a result of the Second World War and then the post-Second World War Windrush kind of migration to Britain. The kind of reason for selecting this as my first kind of book review that I've done is that I would say it's where it all started with me. It's really easy for me to now kind of pick up a book and think critically about it and think critically about the way that Black people are portrayed, or my ancestors who are from Jamaica have been portrayed. But when I was 16, I simply didn't know how to do this. I've been taught kind of my history and my family's history in quite a, I don't really know how to describe it. I would say I was only really taught about the oppressive side of things and never about success stories. It was very, very subjective, and so certain figures were viewed as good because of the methods that they used, and others were viewed as bad. And I think the Small Island, for me, it allowed me to take back control of my identity. Another kind of thing about me is that my grandparents came to this country during the Windrush era, so they came in the early 50s, but they left in the 70s because the racism was so bad that they simply couldn't endure it, and so they moved back to Jamaica, and they've never kind of come back here since to live.
Is that why the book's important to you? Does it kind of connect you to your own story?
Yeah, so it connects to my own story because my grandparents didn't really talk about that. I've still got my nan here, but they don't talk about it because it's too painful for them to relive those memories, those kind of years that they endured, and the stuff that they endured. It's come from my dad and his brothers and my auntie, but my grandparents, they can't talk about it. It's obviously a really traumatic time for them, and so it connected me to my history, it connected me to my heritage, and it kind of gave me a real idea of the type of people that they were back then. And that's, I'd say, why it's really, really important to me. It completely shaped my identity and the way that I viewed myself and how proud I was of my West Indian heritage. So yeah.
Okay. And what type of themes emerged? I mean, in your blog, you talk about feminism, for example. How did that come into the book?
So yeah, there's loads of different themes that it deals with, which is, I think, why it's such a brilliant novel. But particularly feminism. So the Windrush movement, for anybody who kind of knows about it, is often viewed in a very male-dominated way. So reporting is heavily male-dominated. It's all about the men that came over to work, etc., and women, they're really kind of omitted from a lot of the commentary on it, and kind of it's almost as if they came over in small numbers, when that really wasn't true. It was one of the most equal kind of movements of people ever, because women came over in large numbers, and to work as well. I think another kind of problem with the way that Windrush is reported is that the only kind of the women that are kind of portrayed in the commentary are often people who work for the NHS and nurses, or people who had different kind of career aspirations or different aspirations in general. It's kind of missing from a lot of the storytelling, which is why I absolutely love Small Island, because Hortense's character, so she starts off in Jamaica, and it kind of goes through kind of her movement to this country, and what she endures. And without spoiling the book, she aspires to be a teacher. So she grows up in Jamaica, which under colonial rule, you've got your British institutions. She learned in a British school. She went to a British school to learn how to be a teacher. She speaks in a very high register of English. She's highly intelligent woman. She comes over and she simply cannot get a job. And it's because of the way that she looked. It's because of the colour of her skin and the way that people perceive her because of that. Now, Hortense, in the way that she's portrayed as the character, is more than qualified for the job. But I think that the book really shows how people had to almost, I wouldn't say abandon, but kind of, and not even accept. They just kind of had to get on with the fact that it wasn't going to be an easy road for them to achieve what they wanted to as a result of the British racism at the time. So I think Hortense is a feminist figure for me. She's strong and she's weak. So she's not just this kind of strong, independent black woman. She needs the support of those around her. She's upset at times in the novel, but she's also very determined. She pulls herself out of situations, she gets on with it, and she takes responsibility for situations that weren't caused by her and simply aren't her problem. And I think that says a lot for me, and said a lot about black women and women of mixed heritage in general, and the loads that we carry. So I think, without knowing it, Hortense is probably one of the kind of feminist icons that I was first introduced to when I was younger.
Yeah. I mean, also one of the interesting things, and I think for me, one of the interesting things is it talks about interracial relationships. Now, both me and you are mixed heritage. And I think there's certain kind of ideas about what interracial relationships are. Like, how does the book kind of speak to that?
Yeah, so the book is, again, another brilliant point from it, is the way that it deals with interracial relationships. So, spoiler alert, but Queenie, one of the main characters, who's a white woman, does have a sexual relationship with a black man who's stationed over in the UK during the Second World War. And back in the 50s, 60s, and kind of decades and decades later, black men were hypersexualized, and they were kind of viewed and portrayed by a lot of the time the British media as predatory. Basically, like, it was this idea that black men were coming over to steal white women, that they would rape white women, that they were a danger to white women. If there was a relationship between a black man and a white woman, people would automatically presume that there was rape involved. And Andrea Levy turns this extremely damaging stereotype on its head, as it's Queenie who actually kind of pursues Michael. It's her that wants a relationship with him. Their relationship is loving, nurturing. He empowers her. He makes her feel beautiful. He makes her feel intelligent, something that she's never got from her previous relationships. And from somebody who is the product of an interracial relationship, I absolutely love the story, and I just love the way that it's portrayed, because, again, at first glance, it's almost, you'd think that the reason that she put it in the book was to challenge kind of the idea that there weren't interracial relationships at the time, or perhaps to show that Queenie didn't hold the same views that a lot of the population did. She would allow black lodgers, she wanted relationships with her black lodgers. But for me, I think it goes so much deeper than that. It really does turn the hypersexualization of black men on its head.
Brilliant. Okay, well, we'll just wrap up, but just if you had to sum up the book in one word, what word would that be?
I would say powerful. I would say, when I first kind of read the book, like I said, it was set as a kind of homework to read the first couple of chapters, and I just tore through it. It's powerful. The different lived experiences in the book hit you. I think there's something really powerful about novels, which is often kind of ignored. They really allow you, in a way, to step into somebody else's shoes and experience their lived experience, whether that's through Hortense and the way that she's looked at by other people, or Queenie, the way that she's looked at and received by her neighbours, the stares, the racist comments, the misogynistic comments. It allows you to get into almost their body and see how they view life. I think this book shows to me how powerful novels are. And that sums it up.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being our first book reviewer. I just wanted to say to anybody watching this that we're looking for more book reviewers. Anyone can do a book review. So if there's a book that's important to you and you want to do a review like this, like our first book reviewer, Mel Williams, just write to Ladders4Action at admin@ladders4action.org with your book idea, and we'll see about doing a review on this. So we're hoping to spread knowledge and to use it for action. Also, if you have a book club that's already existing, you can tell us about your book club and where people can learn out more. And we tend to focus on books around social justice and identity, but any identity, whether that's race, disability, sexuality. So let us know what you're doing and how we can share that knowledge and action and work together. So just wanted to say goodbye from me and goodbye from Mel.
Hi.
And we hope that you follow us on YouTube, you follow us on Twitter. You can also subscribe to our blog if you want to find out more about our reviews and what Ladders4Action does. So thank you very much. Okay. Thank you and goodbye from me.